So what did we do? Well, quite simply, we went back to basics. We had no consistent approach to performance management, and this was really the first step for line managers. We needed to make sure that there was that consistent approach and that they followed it. So what we did was we introduced, a consistent approach to performance management, but one that involved staff. We found it incredibly important to understand what staff needed and what line managers needed as well. And I spent an incredible amount of time talking to people and just understanding what worked best. The one thing that I kept hearing was time. We just don't have the time. So while we looked at how we prioritised projects and the time that we gave to managers, allocated to managers to manage people, we also looked at the processes involved. We simplified our processes and the documentation, and we focused on elements that were important to them. So it was lots of things round about having elements that were very much objective orientated and personal goals, and also, quite interestingly, introducing a performance measure system, which is something we had never done before. We'd never rated people's performance, but staff recognised that we did actually need it, and we're quite happy to adopt it and help to actually introduce a system that would work within Confused. So we had this consistent approach, the revamp of all our systems, and they bought into it. And we also needed the leadership management programme because we didn't really have anything that existed before. Myself and my training coordinator, David, spent a lot of time again speaking to staff and understanding, and line managers and understanding what we needed to do. I also spent a lot of time with the training department across in the Admiral group. I mean, if anybody knows anything about Admiral, they invest a lot in their staff, and they've got the most amazing training department and management, leadership management programme. So we wanted to find out what they had available for us to use. But we finally landed on a programme with 9 sessions, which ranged from performance management to motivating staff, to effective meetings, dealing with difficult people, and building effective teams. It was a mixture of stuff that we delivered ourselves. It was either delivered by people across in the Admiral Tower, or we went and we looked for some external courses. But it's quite interesting because when we actually looked at the training material provided by the Admiral Group and their approach to management, we decided that we need something different. We needed our own material and our own approach. The way we manage staff it's all about staff taking responsibility and giving them ownership and a degree of flexibility and freedom. This is something that was very evident in the early days of Confused when it started up, when it was only a handful of people and then 27 people, and it's something that we tried to maintain. And part of that was when we looked at the programme and when we looked at actually booking people onto the programme, we gave them the opportunity to decide when they wanted to go on the programme. It didn't work. On reflection, we wished we'd actually introduced the programme that they set as part of the Admiral Group, where it's compulsory. You turn up, it's a 3-line whip approach. If you don't turn up, then we deal with you quite heavily. And it is, it's very much a learning game for us, and we would do things differently if we got that opportunity again. And that's kind of a sort of a part of the challenges we found. But this is Katie. If anybody didn't know what our brand picture actually is, it's Katie. It's one of the founding members of the group. And I have to say, I'd love to stand here and say it was dead easy. We rolled out the programme, everybody accepted it, but they didn't. Despite the fact that we had lots of people involved, despite the fact that we allowed people to help us shape the programme. My training coordinator, David, and I looked at that on occasions, and there was days where I could hit my head off the desk. What we faced was the fact that people just wouldn't turn up to courses. They'd booked on the courses, they decided, I'm not going for whatever reason, or there would be late cancellations. Because we'd made the sessions fairly interactive, we couldn't run them a minimum of, we had to have a minimum of maybe 10 people on the courses, so it just wasn't happening. So we ended up cancelling lots of courses. I mean, the reasons for it was time. Time. They just did not have the time to attend. Incredibly frustrating. And it was one of those challenges where we went, what do we do? And we ended up having to, I have to say attendance has improved, but we ended up having to get our CEO basically standing up in front of the company and telling people they had to attend. It was almost, the parental figure with a big stick. If you don't attend, then we will demote you and put you in a different position. So it was quite a fearful approach. And I even had members of my team, a fairly small team, go round and poke people and say, you're supposed to be on a course. It's starting to sink in now. Taking ownership and responsibilities is certainly improving. But I think for me the important thing is what it really did demonstrate was we actually have a problem with people taking ownership and responsibility. And it's not just that expected attendance at courses. There were other things that were becoming evident in the workplace as well. And I quite like to, it's funny because in the early days, that's not what happened. People were jumping at the opportunities. People wanted more responsibility. They wanted to do something. But then it became kind of well, it's not my job, so who cares, It was one of those. But I thought I'd share with you it's really a silly example, but I think it's a good example. We have two rather large kitchens on the floor, and Gary's seen the office. And one of them has the wee equipment in it. It's got the guitar, it's got the drums, it's got, you can imagine given the photographs, but the kitchens are always filthy. It's absolutely disgusting. We confiscated the microwave at one point because it was so bad, and we actually nearly confiscated the kettle and the toaster. And at one point, one of the girls was going to get Aggie and Kim, who they are, to come and look at the kitchen. It was really bad. I'm glad to say it's improved. But it just shows you, it doesn't just manifest itself in people's working attitudes in terms of the role. It does actually spread throughout the organisation and the other things. So anyway, so that's the challenges with the L&M. And the one other thing that I wanted to say was we didn't stop at just devising a programme or, a consistent approach to performance management. For us, leadership and management is a lot more than just training. Within Confused, what we've done is, for the HR team, we have this thing called a winning project, create a winning team. And it's a project, it's built, it's a series of smaller projects that's designed to help people and develop them, and actually to improve the working environment as well. And what we've done is we've actually engaged with a number of people within the organisation to come and join that team. So it's not just the HR team or senior managers who take things forward, it's actually staff as well. And getting their buy-in seems to be, it's positive, and it means that things get done far quicker than they have done in the past. Staff engagement programme, we get to the roots of the problems. We don't always talk to line managers. My team spend a lot of time speaking to staff to understand what issues are there. We run open surgeries, we attend team meetings, we take people out to lunch, we take them for coffee. We do lots and lots of things. We've tried to develop a fairly open and honest HR department that people can feel that they can come and talk to us and engage with us. And we've had massive success with it. And then finally, we've got third cases. We do a lot of charity work. We engage with arts and business, and we give people the opportunity to go off-site and to be exposed to other ways of leading and managing staff, because what we do works for us, or is working for us, but there's other approaches out there. And I think it's really important that we kind of give them those opportunities and let them bring other experiences back to Confused.